Hey travelers, today we are talking about the 8 ways that all-inclusive resorts are going to be changing as they reopen next month and make plans for this with the opening after travel restrictions are lifted. So the most significant change is going to be when it comes down to food and dining. Many of the resorts, what they're doing is they're already planning to space out the tables so that you have 6 feet or 2 meters of distance in between each party. And the buffets are going to look significantly different. We've already talked about this in a few different videos. Basically, they're going to be moving either to more of a cruise ship model where the food is largely served to you. It's put on a plate, you select what you want, and then they pass it to you theoretically under a plexiglass sneeze guard. The irony there is that a lot of cruise lines are actually saying that when they begin cruising again, that the buffets will be closed. So it'll be more of a less of a self-serve model at the buffets and more of a either served to you or made to order food station where they are selecting the food and then they're passing it to you on a plate. The second thing that's going to change a lot is activities that you'll find on the resort. So in the past, we've had beach volleyball and pool volleyball and aquafit classes in the pool, as well as, other games that are going on. Those are going to be either stopped or restricted in the coming months. But I think that the resorts are going to be pretty creative. The activities teams are always a lot of fun. And, there's nothing wrong with doing some music trivia or movie trivia and stuff like that. And they can still have activities in the pool as long as you're remaining with the distance. And I think that is going to be one of the requirements by many of the local governments when those countries reopen for us to visit them. And the third thing that's going to change is obviously the gyms and how those operate. They're going to have limited capacity and they're going to have some pretty serious cleaning requirements. So after you use any machine, it's going to have to be cleaned. Now, this isn't anything that's changed when you go to a gym at home now. Ideally, when you get off the machine, you clean it, so you're cleaning all your gross sweat off of it. But now it is going to be imperative that this takes place. A lot of the resorts are also talking about removing some of the equipment so that, for example, where you might have had 6 treadmills lined up side by side, now you might only have 3 of them and they'll take out the middle ones so that you can have 3 different options, or more than that, but you'll have options for cardio as well as for weight-bearing exercise, but it'll just be slightly spaced out. Spas are going to change as well. They're going to see less treatments taking place. They're obviously going to be all by appointment, but because they're going to have to clean down the rooms and all the surfaces in between or after each session, there's going to be less appointments being taken on. And also chances are you're going to have to wear a mask during that time because you are going to be in close contact with that other person. So a slight change there. Nothing too major on that one. Excursions are also going to be slightly different because, we've all done those fun catamaran tours where there's, lots of you on the front of the boat getting splashed and enjoying those fabulous rum cocktails or beer. But they're going to have to be distancing those again. So distance is really going to be the key, and that seems to be the key message for whether it's travel or anything. So in order for the excursions to work, things like riding in the back of an open air Jeep, sort of safari style, again, you might have, if you have a couple that's together, maybe you book it by couples or by individuals, but it's going to look slightly different than what it looks like now. One of the positive things that is going to happen is that the loungers are going to be more spaced out. I hate it when you go to a resort and the lounge chairs are side by side by side by side. I mean, it literally feels like you're just at a cheap resort and they've just packed in as many as they possibly can. And you're all having fun and you're out in the public, but it is kind of nice to be able to have a conversation with the person you're traveling with without the other person being 6 inches away from you on the other side. And that's another bonus of the whole dining situation is, again, it's lending itself to a little bit more privacy, which is kind of nice. So the loungers, the loungers either by the beach or at the pool are going to be a little bit more spread out. Groups are also going to look very different. And I know we're already seeing some people asking about this when it comes to wedding groups. Like, what is a wedding going to look like when the resorts reopen? What about the seating for the wedding? What about the reception for the wedding? So these are all things that are being worked on. And as we say, you know, things are changing on a day-by-day basis. So we're just, you know, we're holding on and we're just trying to see how this ride ends. But when it comes to just friends and family groups, I think the interesting thing will be that most things will be fairly normal when it comes to everything at a resort. Yes, the loungers will be slightly more spaced out, kind of nice. But in terms of sitting for dinners, that's going to be slightly different because the current plans are that you would only have people within the same household that are sitting at the same dining table. So if you're traveling with another couple or other relatives who don't live with you, then the protocol is that they would be seated at a separate table. So we're not going to see tables of 6 or tables of 8 sitting together like we've had in the past. But, you know, other than that, I mean, everything else is pretty much going to be just like a regular group vacation. So that's good to know because, I mean, who doesn't want a vacation these days, right? So the one sad thing that is likely to change, and some of the resorts have already said 100% this isn't going to happen going forward. Other resorts are still trying to figure it out. And that is unfortunately swim up bars. I mean, I'm not much one for lingering by the swim up bars. I figure the water is probably the least clean in that area, especially for the people who sit there for hours on end. Anyways, so yeah, swim up bars, because of the close proximity that you would have to each other, you know, unless they're gonna somehow block it off, and it can all be done, it can all be figured out. But I think they may forego the pool bars or the swim up bars with waiter staff service. So bringing the drinks to you, and I know that a lot of the resorts, they all have staff, have servers who will bring the drinks to you while you're in the pool. So I think that that's probably going to be the stopgap solution to that one. But, you know, who knows when this will end, but hopefully we'll all be back to normal soon. I hope, and back to enjoying our swim up bars and all the rest of the stuff. But for now, I think these are the 8 main things that are going to change for the near future when the resorts reopen. If you have any thoughts, please leave your comments below. I'd love to hear them. And if you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe. Thanks, and see you later.